100.7 and 1680 AM.
The following show and its content are the responsibility of the show's producers and participants.
Information related in this program is not meant to substitute medical recommendations. Before starting a treatment program, you should consult your physician.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That's right. Welcome to the Couch. Couch Live here. It's a Dope and Dharma edition of the Couch Live here each and every Monday night. Oh, man, Shawman's looking real happy over there, Dharma guy.
Right.
I am the street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you for the last 24 years, and that's the Dharma guy, Trinity Phillips.
Hey, what is up?
What's up, brother? And, of course, Shawman, Mr. Shaw, 247. Hey, you're in a good mood over there, brother.
Because I just got off the couch. I'm on the couch live with the dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas?
You're dancing like your electricity just turned on.
It really did. It really did. So yeah, I'm in the mix. I got internet. I got TV.
Yep.
I got lights.
Let me tell you something. I don't know where you're at right now, people. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, first of all, if you listen to this, I hope you fared well through the hurricane. I know that not everybody did as good as others. We just all got to be grateful that at least we're able to talk about it today, do our laughing and joking around, but at the same time, taking a moment to be serious for those that are still struggling with the serious effects of it and the loss. We'll be talking about all that today here on the Couch Live. This is part one of Hurricane Ian, the aftermath talk, because we will continue this conversation tomorrow on Dope and Dharma's edition of Dharma Time at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find it on Facebook. Trinity, you want to tell them how they can, participate now and participate tomorrow?
Yes. On Monday nights, you can catch us live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live under Dope and Dharma. And then if you're local and here in Orlando, Florida, or Central Florida, you can check us out at 1680 AM and 100.7 FM. And then tomorrow, all those same channels, but then in addition, we'll also be on Twitch Live under Dope and Dharma as well. And then, of course, afterwards, you can check us out on any of the major podcasting platforms.
Yeah, and the unique part about this, the Couch Live edition of Dope and Dharma is that, we're here at 1680 over here with Shawman. And so Shawman, Trinity and I have talked since the hurricane began, since we went through it. So we kind of know what each other experienced, but we don't know what you went through. So catch us up, man. How did you do?
I'm bored. It's boring. What can I do? Can we go outside? Can we go in the ring? Can we go? No, you can't do that. That's what I endured. I got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Sounds like little kids to me.
Yeah, that's exactly. They was just bored out this world. They didn't know what to do. We done tried everything up under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
We had electricity until it just kind of popped out somewhat sort of in a way. Then it came back in. And then all of a sudden our internet just kind of went out because, people were the lines just went down. So we did the best we could. I entertained as much as I can. And then, I've been good night. Time for night.
I must be a bad dad then, because I let my kids the last couple
fend for themselves.
No, I let them play out in the rain. Both times, so. I even got video of them splashing and stuff like that. They were having a ball.
Isn't that how you got canceled off of TikTok or something?
No, I got canceled off of TikTok because I had them doing yard work and trying to show them responsibility, and apparently that's abuse these days.
Well, you're not supposed to do yard work during the hurricane, bro.
Well, no, it wasn't hard work during that
one. Wow. Well, I actually read, which is shocked everyone in my family.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I'm not a big reader. I'll do an audiobook. I don't mind audiobooks. But I quit reading after college. I thought that was enough.
Those weird picture lines.
Yeah. They need to put more pictures in damn books is what they need to do.
It'll catch my attention a little bit more. Just throw a couple of pictures in.
Well, what caught me more is it was the Steeler Nation book.
Oh gosh.
So, I was prepping myself, getting myself hyped up, because I couldn't watch anything football related, couldn't get it on the phone, couldn't see anything what was going on. Missed
You didn't see that
Thursday
they
night's
brought Pickett
game.
in?
I got power in time to watch football on Sunday,
Okay.
man. And you know what? I was excited about
Just
that.
just
That's
enough
Friday
time.
show. That's Friday show. By the way, on Friday, people on Dope and Dharma, we talk sports and we talk politics from a middle perspective. So join us on Friday also, the way Trinity just said to join us. If you become friends with us on Facebook, you'll be able to follow us. Anyway, today is the Couch Live edition, and the Couch Live has been talking about addiction and recovery and family issues for, like I said, the 24 years here in the Central Florida area. So, getting back into the hurricane part, Trinity. So let's talk about the hurricane parties first of all. Because
The hurricane parties, is that what you said?
yeah, because so many people had a hurricane party. They first of all, listen.
Come
I
on,
know
let's talk about it. Come on, let's talk about it.
First of all, I know that some of y'all have been through so many of these, like we all have, and you start measuring your preparation based on some signs that you get, right? Like you start comparing it to other hurricanes.
Right.
When if you compared it to Katrina or Andrew, then we get real concerned, right?
Right.
In Central Florida, as a matter of perspective, people, we compare it to Charlie in regards to, oh God, everybody's going to lose their roofs. That's the way
Right.
we process hurricanes here in Florida. So if you're not from Florida, the way we process it is how similar does this track that it's on and the strength measure up to the last one that really bugged us out and bothered us and kept us out of work and made us go get new things, and our last, we had a trio. We had Charlie, we had Francis, and we had, what was the third one?
Started with G. I don't remember right now. Gene. I think
Charlie,
Gene.
Francis,
Janine or Gene.
Irma.
No, not Irma.
Gene.
No, I think it was Gene. There's three of them in a
I don't know
row.
if it's Gene.
Yeah, they was 2 weeks apart. It was Gene. 2 weeks apart, 3 in a row. It was Charlie, Francis, then Gene.
Maybe Jeannie, but I don't know about Gene. But anyway, we had 3 in a row, and it was every weekend we got one. So like,
Yeah, I remember
the
that.
first one tore our roofs off.
Yeah.
The second one just rained like crazy, just wet us completely. And the third one was just annoying. And by that
Yeah,
point
the
in
third
time,
one didn't really do much.
it didn't matter anymore because the first two just did so much damage. The third one just came and just like
It was never a recovery aspect for me.
none.
You know,
That was
just
my first hurricane.
fun fact.
Right.
Louis, I think you've been around. How long have you been in Florida? How many years now?
91.
Okay, so similar. I've been in Florida since 86, I think.
Okay.
86, something like that. So I just for poops and giggles, I looked up the other day on how many hurricanes have hit Florida. Not major ones, but just hurricanes in general have hit
Right.
Florida since I've been in Florida for the 35 whatever years. 160 hurricanes have hit Florida since I've been in Florida. Now, out of those, only like 12 of them were considered major hurricanes, which would
Right.
be category, I think, 3 and above or 4 and above. Big time, dangerous storms.
Right.
Roughly 10 or 12. But since I've been physically in Florida, 160 hurricanes, named storms, have hit this state.
It's a lot of storms. And the sad thing about when this one came about, most of us didn't even realize, here my aunt from Puerto Rico is calling me about how am I doing? I'm like, well, wait a minute, didn't you just have a hurricane? She just got her power back when we were getting hit with ours. So
Isn't it like Frida or something? Or
Fiona.
Fiona, there we go.
yeah, Fiona.
Fiona.
And they're still suffering for it. They're still suffering it.
But they still suffering from
Maria.
Oh, dude,
from-
they're still suffering from
about
Maria.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
My,
Maria.
my aunt didn't have power for 6 months after Maria.
Yeah, that power company said they have over 1,000 outages
Yeah.
a day still.
She lives in San Juan, which is a major metropolitan area. So can you imagine what others felt like? But anyway, the point is some of you get in the mood, like because I was at the store, right? I was at the store, and people were buying beer and lottery tickets.
Dude, I've been seeing hurricane parties since I was a kid. Like before, like when I was in middle school, like in the neighborhood that I was in, it was in East Orlando.
Right.
And I remember even as a kid, that was like the thing to do. Is everybody was stocking up on like alcohol and snacks and just like nothing, like not the necessities that they were telling you on the news, but like necessities for a party.
That is a necessity. If from their point of view, not for everybody, but from their point of view, that's a necessity.
I think he's got you there, Trinity. I think some people do view that as a necessity.
I think pre-hurricane they viewed it as a necessity. When your house is 6 feet underwater,
maybe not beyond that. Yeah.
Right. Well, then at that point, you're drinking just because why not?
Yeah.
You stressed out now.
and that's the bad part, because those of you out there that are not in recovery, I mean, I get it. You just, you're not going to go to work, so you don't have any responsibilities. So you think, what's the issue? The issue I see, guys, and tell me if I'm wrong, the issue I see with it is not necessarily that you don't have responsibilities, because I get that part of it. What I don't get is that in a time where you need to be the most ready to respond to something, like in a crisis, do you really want to be intoxicated during a time of crisis, like where you have to probably make some serious decisions? I mean, have you seen?
I know why that is, though. Well, I think I know why that is.
Okay.
I think the reason why I know that is because I've really thought about this actually.
Okay.
After the last few hurricanes, but really more so this one.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's a fix to it, but the news coverage makes every single hurricane coming seem like it's going to be the end of the world for everybody in the state.
Okay.
They stress, of course, where it makes landfall.
Mm-hmm.
But so once again, I've been through 160 hurricanes apparently. Only like 3 of them are noteworthy, like whoa, like something actually happened, more so than just a normal summer storm we'll get here, because we get some really bad summer storms here in Orlando. I'm gonna be generous and say 5 of them, even though I don't think it's that many. But let's say 5, even 10. Who cares? 10.
I can't even name 10 that hit us, man. I can only name the one that destroyed my damn roof. And that was Charlie.
That's my point. That's my point. So
I hate Charlie. I struggle with meeting somebody named Charlie to this point, bro.
So if you live, the truth of the matter is, realistically speaking, if you live in certain parts of the state, you're more or less at risk. If you're on the coastal areas, you're obviously more at risk for storm surge and whatnot. You're more at risk for direct hits. The further into the state you go, you're less likely to get some of the high wind damage and stuff if you're not in a flood zone. So not trying to belittle it, but if you keep getting told 160 times that this is going to be horrible and batten down the hatches and do all this other stuff. And I remember, I think the last year we had a couple of hurricanes. I think it was even Maria. Like we were told that they were going to be horrible for us. And I didn't even think it rained here for one of them. And so when you keep getting told that it's going to be hell on earth, and then nothing happens except for there's a meme going around where it's like one of the hurricanes, there was like a patio chair was tipped over and like hurricane, whatever, never forget. Right. And it's a joke, obviously, for the people who got hit hard or hit direct hit, they're decimated.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us who are inland, to make us prepare every time.
But you should, though. Don't you think you should, though?
No.
Wait a minute. Why shouldn't you? Wait, Shaw, man, what are you going to say before I pipe in here?
Let's go back to 1992 or 93.
Andrew?
Is that Andrew?
Andrew. That was Andrew. I believe it was Andrew. A lot of people were not prepped or prepared because they kind of knew what to expect, but didn't know what to expect.
Andrew was a direct hit at Category 5, 160 mile an hour wind.
Yeah, those of you who don't know, it destroyed neighborhoods. I mean, everybody lost the roof, not just shingles.
Yeah,
it destroyed homes. Because as I was up in Chicago watching the news, because it was the playoffs time, and it was I believe it was the Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat, or it was a basketball game. Okay. So that's what, and the game got pushed up to Chicago, and everybody came to Chicago to play, but I watched that and I didn't know what to expect because I was a little, and I was still naive because I still came to Florida because of hurricanes. But in the same essence, that hurricane came so heavy, a lot of people didn't know what to expect. So I got to commend the news for what they do and how they do it, because you just don't know what to expect.
I don't disagree with that.
Well, yeah.
Where my disagreement comes in is there seems to be no acknowledgement of there's going to be different severity in different places.
Mm.
They want everybody to treat it as if you're getting a direct hit. And while I agree that is the wise thing to do, it's like somebody in my life wanted me to tell my children to not get tattoos because they hurt so bad, blah 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 blah, right? I was like, well, I'm not going to tell them that. I'm covered with that. Like, instead, I'm going to tell them this, because if I told them that they hurt so bad, the first one they get, they're never going to believe anything I say, right? We talk about all the time in this show with drugs and alcohol. If I tell them that like drugs don't work, right, and every time you take one, you turn crazy or you die, like, this is your brain on drug, and then they have friends who smoke weed and they don't die, then instantly I lose all credibility. So what I'm saying is there has to be a balance of, yes, you need to be prepared. And yeah, you're most likely, if you're in this area, it could still happen, but it's unlikely. Well, and I know they can't necessarily say it exactly that way, because if something happens, whatever. But for those of us who've been through 160 of them, I can only name like 5 that are really bad. The rest of them are just, So I don't know. I'm just saying, by 162, when I look at the news, it's like, dude, whatever, man. Like, shut up.
Well, so, I don't know what the right thing to do is, to be honest with you guys. I don't know either. But what I'll tell you is, I was a little late to taking this one serious. The more the trajectory started taking it through here, and it looking like Charlie, and they kept using the name Charlie while they described it, I thought that was the best thing they could do for me. So they caught my attention with that by showing me the same trajectory that Charlie took, by using the name like Charlie, by telling me it was bigger than Charlie but slower than Charlie. That all woke me up, because that way I was able to measure my preparedness that on Charlie. Right. What would I have done differently with Charlie? Right. Sure. And although I was a little late to the prep, I think most of us here in Florida, I talk about it all the time, I like to stay a little prepped and ready. So I kind of stay ready, right? I stay with batteries and water. I stay with those necessities. I stay with canned foods. I stay with foods. I stay with that stuff. I don't run out of toilet paper. I don't even ever want to run out of toilet paper.
And I have a gas oven too.
That's why I didn't have an issue during COVID, because I stocked up on that before that. I mean,
Costco, man.
There's certain things that you just never want to run out of. Like ketchup. I always buy ketchup in 2s. I never want to run out of ketchup, Tabasco sauce. There's some things that you consider important in your life, right? Well, hurricane prep is that. Now, here's what I would have done differently. Was I would have. Besides just getting gas for my generator, I would have started it. I would have got it running, just to make sure it ran, because it didn't run. It didn't work. And it's a brand new looking generator. I mean, I rarely use it. I keep it in the box in between hurricanes. So I was pretty mad about that. I couldn't use it at all. Yeah, so I lost everything. I lost all the all the food and stuff.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So but in talking about the hurricane party, I don't do a hurricane party even think in that direction, because I always know someone's going to hurt. Someone's going to be in pain. And I can't help but being an empathetic person these days, being a counselor and helping so many people, change their lives for the better. I can't celebrate something that I know someone's going to hurt. So yeah, I'm not going to hurt. And maybe I can joke about it. Oh, it was weak here, but it wasn't weak somewhere else. And to that person, that's it's a bad joke. It's distasteful. Right. So I don't want to be that guy. I don't fault anyone else for doing it. I just don't want to contribute to that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, I think I'd rather be prepared with my family and for my family and let them know, listen, kids, it's always safe to be here. I want to show that to them, because I don't want them to ever take it lightly. So my kids take it serious. You'll get a kick out of this, Trinity. Dahlia actually, she's not the best listener to my advice. She likes to, because she likes to do things her way, and I get it. She wants to really, really show her independence, and I get it. She's 22. They bought a house at 20, got married at 22. Her and her husband, they got their head on screw. So I get it. You're a strong, independent woman. She knows how to use power tools. And it was interesting, because she was like, when I was saying, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? She was like, okay, show me. Yep. That's what I was telling John. I told him, John, I told you, my dad says it. And I was really impressed with that. And that I liked. I liked the fact that now that she's a homeowner, that she wants to know, okay, from a homeowner's perspective, what is easy for us to do? Well, let's cut the loose limbs, anything touching the house, limbs that are going to die, wrap all that up, bring the stuff that can fly around into your house. I made hurricane shutters for that house. So I said, just, they're real easy. I left it all easy. Just grab the hurricane shutters. They're marked, put them up on the windows, put them up with a butterfly nut, a wing nut. It's real easy. I did the same thing to my house here. So those kinds of things is what I think we should focus on instead of hurricane parties. Now,
Right.
if you guys are out there and you listen and you're into the hurricane, that's you. That's fine. It's just that I'd rather everyone be a little bit more prepared, because then what we saw happen when we saw all the flooding and people without power, I know that we all have to contribute to that. This is going to cost us money. This is going to cost us all money. This is going to cost us time, energy, resources. And I want you to be a contributing member to the fix, rather than somehow blaming the system for them not telling you in time, blaming the system for not taking it serious, not having resources for you, because there is that segment of society that no matter what you tell them, Trinity, no matter how much you tell people to prepare, they won't do it.
Yep.
And then when all hell breaks loose, they want you to take care of them. There is always that segment of society. And
Right.
so what I like to do is let's encourage all of us to work together as brothers and sisters in times like this, to just be prepared, take responsibility for ourselves as much as possible. If you're a Floridian, you should never be without batteries. If you're a Floridian, you should always have water. And listen, I get it. You might be listening to me right now and says, oh, that's easy for you to say. You live on a golf course. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what, though? You got to buy them when you can buy them. In other words, you know when I buy my batteries? I buy them during school supply season, when they cost no tax. There's no tax on them. Water, when you buy water when it's real cheap. There's always that aggressive sell that Publix or Winn-Dixie will do. And they'll try to be getting rid of water like for $2 for like a big case.
$2.99.
Yeah, you buy it.
48 bottles for like $1.
Yeah, you buy it.
Right.
Trinity said it best when you said Costco. You buy certain items at Costco or at the big box stores, so you get bulk. There's certain things that you're going to use them. Like you're always going to use toilet paper. So to buy one roll of toilet paper, it's better if you can, just buy the bigger one. You'll never have to buy it again, for like a month or more. Really,
you get getting at least 31 days out of them.
Oh, do you get a lot? You get a lot of days out of that big old thing. So there's certain things that we just got to be more prepared for. So to watch some of you do hurricane parties, hey man, that's on you. But I didn't get the lottery tickets. I didn't understand the lottery ticket purchases. Yeah. I understood people getting beer because they were like, yeah, I saw.
Somebody was getting lottery tickets in the midst of a hurricane.
Brother, I wasn't in line trying to just do my thing, just trying to hurry up, get back home. I was doing things.
Maybe they were preparing just in case.
This dude was turning in and buying more lottery tickets with us. And I was like, this whole line here is just trying to buy like necessities. And you're sitting here playing with the lotto.
Yeah, I don't.
How are you even going to watch the lottery?
Right. You ain't got no power. How you know if you won or not?
Well, so full disclosure from my end, I've never once been to a hurricane party. My routine has been pretty much the same since I was like much younger. I prepare the best I can, whatever that means for me based upon what I look at. Like I'll look at the storm and figure out where it's at, and I have my own like batteries and water and stuff. I always have that, so I don't have to prepare for that. Like as I said earlier, once again, if you live in Florida, our summer storms are insane. Like we're the lightning capital of the world, dude. We have like really bad, sometimes hail like storms and stuff. So I'm already like have those things on hand.
Right.
The only thing I would ever do different for her, like for Charlie, I actually put board up and stuff. Like so I did do certain things depending on what I see. Not once have I been to a hurricane party. I don't drink anyway, so like I wouldn't be much fun at a hurricane party, I guess. But I don't like the idea of the hurricane party for some of the reasons that you mentioned. And that is there are people out there who lost everything, and you're over here partying. And it's just for me, that's just kind of hard to wrap my head around, to have such a good time when I know that there's people out there dying right now from the same thing that I'm experiencing. And the other thing too is I always do the what if, at least for me. Like there was somebody who texted me, they're a new Floridian. It was a couple days beforehand. And I showed them that the path was, and I told them that where they were at, it was like St. Lucie, I said. And I was like, based upon the current path, you're probably not going to get a whole lot. You're going to get some bad storms and stuff like that, but nothing like major.
True. And
their response was like upset. They were disappointed. They're like, I really wanted something. I'm like, slow your roll. They're like, that's when I had to be like the adult in the room. Like, look, man, like I'm not even gonna pretend like I get that, because
Mhm.
I've seen the devastation. Like, I was here through Charlie. I was here in for Andrew. Like, no, you don't. Like, that's something you think that you no, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody thinks it's like the movies where it's like you're standing outside, like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, no, dude, like there's things destroying property and whatnot. And so I always operate under the it could happen. So I'm not
Right.
trying to I hunker down, I make sure my family's close. My wife gets irritated because I watch as much as the coverage as I can. I'm talking like 4, 5, 6, 7
Right.
hours of just coverage. Where's it at? What's it doing?
Right.
I'm paying attention to all that thing. I don't go anywhere. I bring things in. I do all that stuff. And so for me, I'm just not big on the party aspect of it. But that leads us to our next one, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it up since we're talking about
Right.
it. Is I'm not that person that doesn't think it can happen to them.
Mm.
Like I hope it doesn't. If I go on my experience and the data that I have,
Right.
I think it's unlikely that I'm going to experience certain things where we're at, but I know for a fact that that can change at any given moment. So therefore,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful every year that it doesn't happen. And once again, if I'm a betting man, yeah, I have certain parameters that I look at. And I'm like, I don't really. It's not likely that that's going to happen to us here, but it's always possible. And then for me, this year, like this one was bad in my area. Like I mean, for those of you who are on my social media, my front yard was pretty flooded. Like it was
Like a
coming up
river.
it was coming up
Yeah.
my
You had a river.
driveway.
Yeah.
And I thought like that was bad. I was like, dude, my driveway, like if it rained for another couple hours, it
Right.
would have been up to my front door.
Right.
Like, and then I was like, so I took my kids out. It was like the next day. I was like, oh well, let's go. I do my standard, like I go around and just see what's going on. And in my neighborhood, literally the street behind me, I come around a corner and it was a river. Like the houses were like 3 feet underwater. There was water all the way up to like the windows of many of the cars.
Mhm.
The neighborhood next to mine, they were on the news for having airboats having to go pull people out.
Mhm.
Cars fully submerged, like over the roof. Not even 5 miles from my house, over on University in Rouse.
Right.
There was complete homes underwater, like up to the roof. I mean, that was the Little Econ River, so I'm not totally shocked on that one based upon what I saw here. But dude, it was sheer luck that my house didn't. I mean, we're a little bit elevated where I'm at, and
Right.
so our drainage is a little bit different where I'm at. But like 2 streets over, not so much. And
No.
so
And that's
yeah,
Florida. And that's
yeah,
Florida.
we're under
You'll
sea
have
level.
you'll have weather on one side of the street, not on the other. You'll
Yeah,
have serious damage on one side, not on the other,
yeah,
because tornado damage can happen. It can pick and choose a
yes,
house, like that. I mean, look, I'm in a high house. Our house is high and everything like that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that par five behind me turned into a river.
right,
It was a river. The creek on the other side turned into a river. And so even I was thinking, I've never ever experienced a hurricane in this house. So
right,
Dana and I were like, well, how high is the water going to get? I feel pretty secure because I have, like I said, I can go to the higher floors
right.
anyway, but no matter what, but to watch it so close and be like, damn, man, I was thinking more
Yeah,
like the alligators are a little too close. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
was like, damn, that river gets up higher. The alligators and the snakes
yeah,
are like right there in my front yard.
yeah,
But I was never really worried about what some other people dealt with, like what you said. You leave the neighborhood, and that's when you go like, whoa, maybe my
yeah.
neighborhood's all right. But even to leave my neighborhood, I couldn't leave out of that side or that side.
Same here,
Both exits were flooded.
same
But
here.
this one had a car parked there for like 2 days because it got flooded, and I guess the woman, I don't know how she got out of the car because the car was just sitting there for 2 days. So I feel for that, man, and we think it won't happen to me. Well, it happens to somebody. It
Yeah,
happens to somebody, and someday it's going to be you. Like there's things that happen to you that haven't happened to me. There's
yeah,
things that happen to all of us that haven't happened to our friends and neighbors. That's why when we tell the stories, like, oh my God, you went through that, because that didn't happen to them. Well, guess
yeah,
what? Some things do happen to you. And unfortunately, sometimes it's this stuff. We were on the phone with my daughter, and like you were saying, Port St. Lucie. This is a funny thing because you were saying Port St. Lucie.
yeah.
Our youngest daughter, Zoe, she's in FAU at the university. So
Correct.
she's what, 7 floors up, 8 floors, and all of a sudden she's like, she starts freaking out. What's going on? An alarm's going off. I said, let's listen to it. It was the tornado warning alarm.
Yeah,
It wasn't a fire. I was like, oh my God, dude, there's tornadoes by
yeah,
her. They were
yeah.
destroying things.
I think it was like 12
And
tornadoes or
and that
something.
was like 2 days before the dang hurricane.
Yep.
And that's when we started getting this. When that started, that's when we were starting to. That's right when we were starting to get it serious. It was like, all right, it's causing tornadoes over there. Dana and I are, on the roof up here. Dude, we were our golf courses have that tornado warning too. So the
Right.
winds go a certain speed that the alarm goes off. The alarm starts going off, and I'm on the freaking roof over here putting on the hurricane shutters. I'm thinking, this is the stupidest thing, but it's because it might happen to us. So it went from it won't happen to me to like, you know what, it could happen to me.
Well, and that is the great X factor there. Actually, is the tornadoes. That's the thing that nobody wants to think about.
That's what I'm more worried about.
So in Charlie, that is actually what did the devastation where I'm at. It messed up my roof a little bit, but I remember very definitively during Charlie, there was one moment, like during Charlie, I went outside, like I had a video of me like leaning into the wind and stuff. Charlie was bad, but it wasn't like devastatingly bad for my neighborhood. However, there was one moment, and I didn't know at the time what it was. I was in my house, and I've always felt pretty safe through all my storms that I've been in this house. But I remember there was a moment where it sounded like a freight train was coming through. Like it was the loudest. Like I was like, the windows started shaking a little bit. I'm like, that was the only time in all the years that I've owned this house, in over 20 years, that I was like, let me not be in the living room for this. Like I left the living room and went to the bathroom. I had no clue at the time, but that was because literally 3 streets over, there was a tornado that went through. And I didn't know that until the next day when I went out and I had to go dig my friend out of his house. And as I'm going to his neighborhood, there's like just a path of just trees down. I saw a Ford Explorer that was smashed to like 2 feet. Like it was just complete and utter devastation. It was a tornado. And we can get those just on a Tuesday.
On a regular day.
We get storms like that. Those happen all the time. Look up Winter Garden in the 80s. It wiped Winter Garden off the map.
Right.
And hurricanes bring tornadoes.
That's right.
Like it's literally like the perfect scenario for a tornado to form. And those are the things that people don't realize. Like, just look up the videos, guys. I mean, there's like you said, it literally would just go through, and then all of a sudden the house is gone. It'll go through. This house is gone.
Exactly.
Like,
it picks and chooses.
Yeah, and it's like, and it doesn't like mess it up. No, it's gone. Like your house just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And
So
those.
then,
Go ahead.
I wasn't wrong then for my first hurricane. My first hurricane occurred in 2004. When all 3 hurricanes came back to back. The first thing I did, because I didn't know what to expect, I went up north where we always say, hey, when you hear those alarms, go get in the tub, because the tub is not going anywhere. The tub is the solid thing in the house, and everything else can fall around it, but that tub is going to be right there, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I went to bed in the tub during Hurricane Charlie, because it looked like the walls were talking to me. Hey, swelling in at me. I'm coming to get you. The windows were knocking and banging. Hey, we finna come through here. Yo, let me go in the bathroom. Ain't no windows in the bathroom. Let me lock the door.
Yeah.
And that's what I went in the tub, because that's the safety for tornadoes for us from up north. That's what we did.
Well, if somebody says it won't happen to me, my question to them is why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what kind of special amulet are you wearing that it's going to make that not happen?
Yeah.
Like, is it the red kryptonite? Is it the blue kryptonite?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's why not you? That's I just want to know why you're so special. Why not you? Because things can happen, and things do happen to you.
Yep.
So why not that? How did that special thing not become the thing that happens to you? And that's where kind of like into the next topic, the fear and loss part, is that there's a healthy fear and there's an unhealthy fear, right? So the unhealthy fear is projecting things that just are a very low possibility of existing and impacting your life, so it paralyzes you, right? Whereas a healthy fear is I don't feel adequately prepared, so let me over prepare. Like Marissa put a thing there. Let's put that up there. Marissa Molesky from New York put a comment. She's listening and watching on Facebook Live, and it says, we were overly prepared for Hurricane Irene and got almost nothing. We weren't as worried about Hurricane Sandy, but it was devastating. Lost everything. So and she's in New York.
Yeah, well, yeah, all that flooding. I remember seeing the subway systems just completely overran with water.
So we talk about it a lot, like Florida, like we own hurricanes, right? But
it feels
Texas,
like it sometimes.
But Texas has had some devastating hurricanes.
Well, I mean,
Louisiana has had some devastating hurricanes.
Katrina.
The Panhandle of Florida, Mississippi's had some terrible hurricanes. Puerto Rico gets rocked. Cuba on this one, I still don't know what happened to Cuba.
I've seen some
hurricane.
pictures.
I still don't know what happened to Cuba.
The Bahamas.
Virgin Islands, the islands.
Yep.
Uh,
And then it rode up the coast to Georgia and South
It's
Carolina.
still out there right now. It's hitting
So-
what Cape.
so it's like-
Cape Cod.
It's now up Cape Cod,
So there
Connecticut
you go.
area, somewhere right around in
Right.
that area.
Right. No guy up there that had a house in Naples. So he probably got his house in Naples, then went up and got his house in Cape Cod where he was
Oh,
hiding
you talking
out.
about Frank?
No, I'm not talking about Frank.
Frank's got one in Naples.
Sarasota. No, it's Sarasota.
He told me Naples. So
Oh, okay. Where he lives?
Mhm.
No, he lives in Sarasota.
okay.
Which was, first of all, and this is the other thing, right? So the fear was, oh my God, it's coming here, right? They were projecting that it was going to hit Tampa. Tampa got nothing.
Yeah,
Not a thing.
it was
Tampa
Tampa, and they're like,
Tampa
oh,
didn't even lose their electricity.
nope.
You know, so my dad's house in Tampa was solid, bro. He's got the purge house. You know, my dad has that button, and then all the windows close, the front door can close, the back. I mean, dang, bro, I want the purge house. My dad has a purge house. So you know, my brother and his wife came from Sarasota because Sarasota or Tampa was going to get the hit. It was going to come right through Siesta Key or Tampa, right? Nope. No. Yeah.
But see, that's the thing about these storms. Projectile always say one thing, but there's
Right.
you can't tell because it shifts,
It
and
moved.
that's what it did to us
My
because
wife-
it was never expected to hit
Or
Florida.
what the hurricane would say is, I never moved. You guys just didn't know how to measure where
Yeah.
I was going. I never told
Right,
you where I
right.
was going. I didn't give you the map. It's not like I gave you a map. I just
A road map.
you, Mr. Human, go, wow, it changed direction. Well, no, it knew where it was going
Yeah.
the whole time.
Well, my wife asked me all the time.
we act
she-
like it's Emmett Smith over here, you know? Like,
no, my wife is still somewhat of a rookie when it comes to hurricanes,
yeah.
and so every year, you know, she's asking me all these questions and whatnot, and you know, can it do this? Can it do that? And I'm like, look, and every time I tell her, I was like, well, I mean, Mother Nature can do whatever it wants. Like,
Whatever.
like there's projected paths and there's data and there's likelihood based upon what we've already been through. But at any given moment, Mother Nature can be like, nah, I'm gonna do this instead. Like we had that one that came across, hit us, turned around and came right back and hit us again.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
like it can do whatever it wants, man.
Yeah. And it could stall. Like what
Like it did
Maria
in
did to Puerto
Bahamas.
Rico. Maria just stayed there for 3 or 4 days. Just stayed right there.
Yeah.
For like 3
Yeah,
days.
that was-
Didn't stop.
That I have never seen, by the way. It was over the
a
Bahamas.
category 5 stopped. No,
Yeah.
it stopped over Puerto
Yo,
Rico
It's not
It-
right.
It stopped
It
at the
stopped.
Bahamas too. There was one where it was like
It
moving
just
at
stopped.
zero.
and just stopped.
I've never seen that, dude.
It
I've
just hit
never
Puerto
seen
Rico
it at
for 3
zero.
days, bro, and that's sad, bro.
That was horrible.
And that was destructive. That was just crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so those things can happen, and so all the fear could be healthy about this. Now you may be fearing different right now. You may be fearing, how am I going to get my life back? There's a lot of people that do recover from this, you know, and there's a lot of loss that you've experienced. But there's, you know, recovery is recovery in every language, you know, in every situation. Look, people do recover from cancer. People do recover from traffic accidents. People do recover from poverty, from bankruptcy. Recover from losing their jobs and divorces. The loss of a loved one. You can recover from this. You know, I know there's a lot of loss. I know that you experienced a lot of stuff, but there is a way out of this. Now, getting plugged in to maybe how to find the resources that can help you, get back to feeling safe right now and feeling whole again. That might be the challenge for that. But I would have to believe that our 211 number in the Central Florida area should be very helpful right now for any of you that are kind of looking like, well, how do I find food? I lost all my food. Is there a food bank near me, or is there a way to maybe get reimbursement for that? Well, I'm sure 211 could probably help you find some people that are helping, because some people are, and there are organizations that do that.
Yeah, and I the news actually has been really good at covering that. I've seen a couple of the press conferences from our governor, and he's gone into great detail as to what's available, how to do it, what numbers to call. Like they are really very much on top of things right now on how to get that assistance. I know it can be overwhelming, man. Like that's where the for me, it started before I even left out of my house when I was watching some of the videos of Naples and Fort Myers Beach. I remember watching like the flooding coming in, and I'm just like, dude, how I can't even wrap my head around the feeling of like helplessness when you're watching water rushing into your house and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And then when I left the next day, after seeing all those things and having those emotions, I leave the next day and I see how flooded my neighborhood is. And then the next day after that, I go back through there to go check on my mom, and I see all the people outside, all the car doors and everything is open. People's got their stuff out of their cars. They're trying to dry them out. The garage doors are open. They're just pulling out carpet and everything. It's just like, but that's how you do it, right? Like you just start when it comes to recovery.
You just got to start.
You just start.
It's amazing how many people I talked to in the last 2 days that already said we pulled out the carpet. We already pulled out the baseboards. It's like how many people already did it. I look, I've been outside for multiple days.
My whole neighborhood.
Yeah. It's just been pulled in ours is all rubbish, like it's trees and branches and leaves and things like that, right? Rebuilt my daughter's fence so she can have her fence back so her dogs can be there, right? That's the stuff. But these people are telling me, yeah, we had to pull out our carpet. I'm thinking, you had water in your house and just stayed there? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, because that doesn't go. I'm just thinking mold. I don't know if you've ever had a mold issue, but Dana and I went through a mold issue one time.
It's such a pain.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing worse than that news other than termites. I think termites could be right up there with it, right? But when they go, you're going to have to leave your house like now and not come back. Everything in here needs to stay. What do you mean? Wait, I can't stay because we got to treat it all. It's like, are you freaking kidding me, man?
Yeah.
So they take out all your stuff and they put it in a container and then demold your house, right? But for days. It's a horrible experience. I hated it. But that's all I keep thinking when I'm thinking, oh my God, these people are, you see couches, people's furniture in their front yard. You just see drywall, you see carpet. So many of you are already hard at working, helping each other. And those of you that are able-bodied or helping people that are not as able and physical as you, man, there's so many good people out there, man. There's so many of you are doing such good things. I really got to say that because this is when you see that there are a lot of good people out there helping and wanting to help because you see a lot of that work being done.
Yeah. I think, like I said, that's part of the recovery, right? Like if you were the one affected by it,
right,
you just start, right? I mean, I think the most logical place would be to get these sources of mold out. So if you had water in your house, you got to start ripping up stuff and get it down to the concrete.
Dry it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And just start pulling things out. But then if you weren't affected by it, in your neighborhood, maybe there were people that was. I mean, maybe they just need, they need a helping hand. Maybe they need somebody to come in, take a load somewhere. Maybe they just need like a pizza or something. Maybe they just need somebody to come by and say, hey man, it's going to be okay. Like you never know, like anything can help. I remember, so my mother-in-law, she was out of her house. She went and evacuated to her son's house. And she was worried because she got some pictures and it looked like a lot of her neighborhood was underwater. And she has a manufactured home. So it's not quite a mobile home, but it's also not, a concrete built house. And she was like terrified that her whole house was gone. And so I took her and I drove over there because I have a truck. I went in there and kind of like, all right, let's take a look and see what happened. Thankfully for her, when we went in there, a lot of her neighborhood wasn't doing very well, but her house was actually high enough to where zero damage. But the neighbor across the street, the neighbor next to her, not so much. Like they were lower down, and I see them working on their houses and stuff. And so part of what we can do is, like you said, just offer to help, man. Just instead of rolling by and gawking at them, like, hey, do you need some help? You all right? Like I helped my neighbor do a couple things for his house, and just that's how you recover. Is just because if the tables were turned and you had something devastating happen to you, I don't think you would want your whole neighborhood just driving by looking at you. I think you would very much appreciate somebody saying, look, I don't have a whole lot of money, man, but like, I know how to do this. So I'll help you, I'll help you cut that tree down, or, hey, I can haul that away for you. I can do something.
Isn't that what part of our country was based on? Isn't that what part of our country was founded on? Us being a unified country to help one another, not just in times of need, but just overall in general, because you never know what anybody's going through. Supposed to be, I remember, when we had people that passed away in our neighborhood, everybody in the neighborhood will bake some and send to that house.
Mm.
Somebody will go by the house and say, "Hey, my condolences. What do you need? You ain't got to worry about nothing. We'll help cover the flowers, or we'll help do this, or we'll help do that."
Yeah. Yeah, those are the real good things. When I went to the office today, where our station is actually our station, for this show and our other shows, I went to the office and it had gotten flooded. It had water inside.
Oh, wow.
And out, it receded quickly. I mean, it's right there on the, it's on
the
an
lake,
island. Yeah, it's on an island in Sanford on the lake. And the island was underwater, pretty much. So, the church that we're connected to, serious water damage. Unfortunately, water stayed in there. It's a little bit lower than ours. It had water inside, stagnant. Oh man, the place smelled horrible.
That's
I mean,
horrible.
they got it dry vac. I think you're going to pull the carpet out. That's an example of people. If you're a person of faith and belief, and you want to help a local church, find me on Facebook, and I'll connect you with them. I mean, go help that church. That church is going to need it. It's a small church. It's not a well-funded, not a big funded church. It's not, like I was raised Catholic, like you never have to worry about the Catholic churches, right? Our church has always had money, right? But these smaller, independent, non-denominational churches, they depend on the tithing of their individuals, of their parishioners. Right. And so when I think recovery, I think of things like that. I think, man, everybody's just got to chip in. So like if you're a craftsman, right? If you're a carpenter, don't just think, wow, this is a good time I can make some extra money, because you're right, you can. So make some extra money. I'm not going to fault you for that, but at the same time, lend your skill for free as well. Like if you can do both, that's the best for you. Lend your, charge the people that have the insurance coverage and are willing to pay and all that stuff. And then the other individuals who they may not be able to do that, maybe lend your skill to them. Same thing with you electricians out there. Same thing with any person that knows concrete. Anything that you do physically with your hands, motors, engines, there's probably some knowledge that you have that your neighbor doesn't, and that's why their car's just sitting there stalled out. It could be something as simple as you going over there and go, "What? It's an old carburetor engine. I just have to blow the fuel filter out. Look, it just got clogged up in there. Now you can start it, and then it'll start." But that person doesn't know that. They don't know it's that simple. They have to call a mechanic.
And there's somebody there willing to charge them $1,000 to do it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It costs $1,000. Whereas, you just, and it could be that simple. And so many of you have some of that kind of knowledge. And if you could just lend it to somebody that just, they could use your help, you're going to feel good on the inside. And like I said, I don't fault you for charging some people as well. I mean, I get it. This is a time of that's the problem with the recovery, right? Is that the vultures exist, right?
Oh yeah.
And not all of you are vultures. I'm not saying all of you are vultures, but it just feels like that when you're already hurting and you're already in pain. But I get it. If you're a roofer, look, you got to do the roofs, man. And that's what you do. So you don't hate hurricanes as much as other people. If you do fences, you don't hate this as much as other people. If you do carpet, you don't hate this as much as other people. If you do tile work, look, Trinity says it all the time on our Dharma Time show. He says your worst moment that you're experiencing, somebody's okay with that moment. That's a good time for that. I'll let you explain it your way, Trinity, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as devastated as you are, it's not universally bad. It's bad for you, but for the person who gets paid, who makes their livelihood to do that, it's not bad for them. There's a lot of people are going to be able to feed their families right now who might have been struggling because they do they have a trade that is going to be in need right now.
Right.
That maybe wasn't a need last week, but it will be now. So last week they were struggling. This week they're doing well.
Yeah. And some of these people, you ignore them until you need them. Some of these people, you're only thinking doctors, lawyers. You better not forget the physical laborers, the hand laborers, man. You need them. Not everybody can, make money off playing video games like some of y'all. You know what I mean? Some people need to actually know how to do stuff. And that's where I felt blessed going over to my daughter's house. Here's the funny thing. In that same house that she bought, Dana and I owned it at one time before they bought it from us. And in that house, when I was Dahlia and John's age, Dana and I, we were like 23, 24 years old, whatever we were. We owned that house, and my dad and my mom and my brother came over and helped us build the fences and all that. So to go over there now, where now they own it at the same around younger than what we were, and I'm helping my daughter now build a fence,
That's cool.
and that was pretty magical.
Well,
for me.
I know we're getting short on time, so I do want to cover this. You and I spoke briefly before we went on air, so I want to make sure we do cover it. One of the things that I was unaware of and I never thought of during COVID was individuals who were in recovery from drug and alcohol use.
Mhm.
They couldn't go to meetings and stuff because
Right.
COVID prevented them from leaving, and so I know it was very difficult for a lot of those people. And so I couldn't help but think this time, when I look at some of the total devastation in like places like Fort Myers and Naples and whatnot, what do you do then, right? Like if you don't have cell service, so you can't necessarily call your sponsor or whatever. Maybe the place that you go to on a normal basis is completely destroyed, so you can't go to the meeting.
Mhm.
And you're obviously struggling right now because you have some loss. You just went through a traumatic event, and you're thinking about, maybe I want to use at the moment. Like, how do you get help at that point?
Yeah, it's a really good question, man, because that's going to be place specific. I mean, because like you said, if there's no online and no phone, then everything that I would tell you to do, every phone number I could give you, or every .org I can give you is not going to be very
Yeah.
helpful. So I'm going to stick to the most practical thing that you can do. It only takes one person to have a meeting, right? Just get a big book and one person.
I love that.
And that's all it takes to have a meeting. So if you know one other person, even if they're not in recovery, you can say, listen, I know you're not in recovery, but I can't go to a meeting that I would normally go to. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to be that one other person so that we can have a meeting. I need you to just sit with me, and you do exactly what you're used to doing at a meeting with this other person. They will feel good about being able to be there for you and being supportive to you. You'll feel good because you're able to go through the process of having a meeting. The next day or whatever, you might find there'll be 3 people. That person may know somebody. You know what? And I know another person, they may be interested in coming to this. And then the next thing you know, you might actually create a brand new meeting out of your hurricane meeting. I've seen meetings get creative out of necessity like this before, because all it takes is one other person and a big book. And realistically, some people memorize big books, so you don't even need that. But but if you have that, that's what you do. You just don't pick up, man. You just don't drink, and you just don't use, and you keep praying, and you just stay vigilant in your purpose and what you're there to do. You be very grateful that you're sober today. You be very grateful that you're alive today. And even if you didn't make it through all the way sober, even if you went to one of those hurricane parties, you could be sober again. You can stop now, and you can get sober again. You can do this. Now, obviously, if it's alcohol, my concern is always during these things that you'll go through withdrawals before you get into detox, that the hospitals may be inundated or even closed. But if you ever need to call 911 because you have to quit drinking, call 911. Make them come pick you up. Make them take you to a detox unit. What are they going to do? If you're going through withdrawals, that's dangerous. You can die from that. And I don't want anyone going through that. If it's drugs you're on and using, you might go through withdrawals, but you're not gonna die from the withdrawals of the drugs. They're just gonna feel like crap. You know that. But the point is, unless it's benzodiazepines like Xanax, then that's pretty life threatening yourself. But the real key point is, as soon as that electric comes on, get replugged in, get reconnected. There's so many people. Meeting people will come see you. They'll come pick you up and drive you to another town. So if you get on that phone and you find anybody from meetings outside the city, they will help take care of you. But all it takes is one other person. Trinity, great question.
Right on.
And we got to be closing up. So Shaw, man, what's coming on after the show here at WOKB?
It's the Side Show coming your way right here on the Station of the Nation. You got these brothers in here that's getting ready to show up, show out, and tear all down. You thought Hurricane Ian was a problem? What you see, all good entertainment, baby. It's on and popping. Side Show next right here on the Station of the Nation.
Right on. Trinity, tell us what we're gonna do tomorrow on a Hurricane Part 2.
We're gonna continue to talk about some of the aftermath of Hurricane Ian and kind of just what that looks like, what people are going through at the moment, and dive a little bit deeper into how that's affecting everybody.
And where are we gonna do that?
We're gonna do that on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch Live. Look up Dope and Dharma, and you will find us there.
That's Dope, the letter N, then Dharma. All right, everybody. I am the dope doctor. He is the Dharma guy. That is the Shaw man. And this has been the Couch Live. Adios, amigos. Time for a taco. Goodbye.